food is one of the items which has been traveling for a long time, and food is the item that excites everybody more than anyone else. We will be looking at the travels of food and people and fashions and culture, and we've looked at how certain kinds of Indian items, particularly food, have become extremely popular in the West. Now, we are looking at again just like Indian fashions, which turned from Indian clothing and India as being imagined as spiritual and mystical and unexciting to cool. Similarly, we look at how curry, which was something which was looked down upon in the West in the initial years, and the smell of curry was found revolting by Westerners initially, how the West has now acquired a taste for what it calls curry, and a taste which makes the Indian food the next ethnic trend in the West. But we also look at the travels of the food from the West to the East, and the travel of food from the West to the East, particularly the travels of American fast food, has come in for very strong criticism from cultural guardians who believe that American fast foods would bring about a major transformation in Indian food habits and lead to unhealthy, not malnourished, but obese, unhealthy individuals who are raised on fast food like burgers, pizzas, and so on. So we look at both the travels of food from the West to the East in the wake of globalization and even earlier, and the travels of food from from the East to the West, creating a new trend for Indian food in the Western markets among Western consumers. So it literally, we have the West eating the other, just like Indians are now becoming Americanized through eating West American food. So we look at the food trail, we find that it's food which has traveled most of all from the very beginning, and it's been traveling for centuries from one part of the world to the other. In fact, Indian spices were the most important ingredient in the oceanic trade between India and the world. And similarly, several items in the Indian cuisine are believed to have brought in by travelers and even invaders to India. So whether it's tea or tomatoes and several other vegetables were not indigenous to India, but were brought from elsewhere. Not only that, Indian cuisine, like any other cuisine, is a result of the cross-fertilization with other cuisines. Now, looking at this, considering that food has been one of the most mobile items and has been an example of early forms of globalization, the circulation of raw foods as well as cooked food, and the cross-fertilization of different cuisines on the subcontinent and elsewhere. How do we look at this new movement of food and the emergence of the mushrooming of multinational corporations, mostly from those from developed nations and developing countries, and corporations which bring with them cutting-edge technology, research, innovation strategies to create value for consumers. Not surprisingly, armed with years of experience and unique value proposition at their disposal, these corporations soon began outcompeting local businesses, and consequently they perceived not only as an economic threat but also as a cultural threat. So let's look at how these transnational food chains first arrived in India and the so-called McDonaldization of India through the opening of American fast food chains in India beginning in the 1990s. Multinational fast food chains such as McDonald's, Subway, Domino's and KFC, for example, are seen as exerting America's soft power on developing nations. Their foreign delicacies are often alleged to be grabbing market share from indigenous food items, thus creating a fear of cultural displacement with respect to food. The first KFC opened on Brigade Road in India. Kentucky Fried Chicken, popularly known as KFC, is a fast food restaurant. I'm sure you don't need an introduction to KFC. That's known for its fried chicken. Headquartered in Louisville, Kentucky, the United States, KFC is the world's second largest restaurant chain after McDonald's. Currently, KFC has more than 18,000 outlets in over 100 countries. So, food is the most obvious symbol of globalization. And every day, more than 12 million customers are served at KFC outlets around the world. KFC is a subsidiary of Yum Brands, which also owns Taco Bell and Pizza Hut. So, the first KFC opened on Brigade Road in Bangalore, and the story of how a renowned professor, Professor Swaminathan, protested against led a group of farmers who protested against the opening of the first KFC outlet on Bangalore on various grounds, one of them being how it would change the food habits of Indians and lead to a deterioration in the Indian diet, and the second one was more economic, how it would deprive Indian farmers of their livelihood as people switch over to American fast food. Now we move to Pizza Hut. Once again, we're talking about the 90s when the world was being Bangalored, and Bangalore was being touted as the first state-of-the-art city, the first expatriate city, the most cosmopolitan city in India after Bombay. And so most of these food chains first began their business in Bangalore. Pizza Hut, like KFC, also entered India in the mid-90s in 1996, and the first Pizza Hut restaurant was opened in Bangalore on Cunningham Road, which was the first international restaurant chain to enter this category much before KFC. Their operations in India are 100% franchise, and in 2011, Pizza Hut had 131 outlets in India and plans to double the number of outlets in India by 2015. So, I don't know the exact number of outlets we have today in India, but by 2011 it had 131 outlets. The expansion is expected to happen in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. In 2011, it had 27% market share of the eating out market, and this is the first Pizza Hut on Cunningham Road. KFC, in what could be considered no less than a miraculous consequence of intense competition amongst various restaurant businesses, KFC, which celebrates chicken in its very name, came out with a segregated yet expensive vegetarian menu. So, how Indian food, how American food comes to India, and the Americanization myth is demystified as American food, fast food, is forced to capitulate to Indian taste buds and to the preferences of Indian diners by incorporating a vegetarian menu. Yet the very fact that customers were free to act upon their preferences, and that KFC was free to respond to their choices by setting up its businesses in India, points to existence of countless opportunities in developing countries. These opportunities, however, could be tapped only because the retail food market is relatively free from unnecessary government interference. Taking its customer centricity to the next level, KFC even keeps separate cooking sections for vegetarian and non-vegetarian dishes, because this was once the earliest complaint against KFC that and McDonald, that there was mixing of vegetarian and non-vegetarian food in its kitchens, while proactively informing this to their customers through hoarding, posters and similar advertisements. Many local restaurants don't, as a result of which they pave way for their international rivals to leverage this opportunity. And from KFC we come to Dunkin' Donuts, which is a more recent entrant, and how Dunkin' Donuts, which is a quick cash and carry kind of outlet, breakfast outlet, where people pick up their donuts on their way to work or to have a quick breakfast, how it was forced to localize when it entered India. Many fast food chains that have been working to expand into India have reworked their menu to suit the local culture. So the Massachusetts chain Dunkin' Donuts recently introduced a whole new menu of burgers, a move that falls in stark contrast to its very name, because Dunkin' Donuts, after opening its initial chain of stores, it realized that Indian consumers don't want to walk into a store only to buy a dozen donuts as they would buy in the US. More, in fact, the Indian food habits, the eating patterns are different, because Indians tend to eat as a family rather than alone, individually, as they do in the West. They breakfast together in their homes. They do not prefer to grab a quick donut on their way to work. In response to these distinct cultural features, Dunkin' Donuts modified its store timings. Instead of opening early in the morning, it began to begin its day somewhat later in the day. So we're looking at how American food gets localized, not for any altruistic reasons, but in order to capitalize on the large Indian market for all things American. And then it's now again this myth of Americanization is demystified through the entry of cuisine from other parts of the world as well. It's not just American fast food that has entered India since the 90s, but other food from the non-Western part of the world have also invaded, particularly the metro cities in India. Of course, we've always had Chinese food, which first began with the migration, the concentration of Chinese in Calcutta, and the number of Chinese restaurants in Calcutta, and every city would have a few Chinese restaurants for a long time. There have been Chinese restaurants in Indian cities, particularly the metro cities. But now the new discovery, India's new discovery, is sushi from Japan, which until recently, even metro cities like Mumbai, Delhi and Bangalore had fewer than a dozen Japanese restaurants between them. The average Indian dismissed sushi as raw cuisine, but a flurry of Japanese dining options, from high-end restaurants to sushi takeaway joints, is changing all that. Less affluent Indians too are embracing the cuisine, as the Japanese sections of menu at Pan-Asian restaurants are getting larger. Small sushi takeaways restaurants have arrived in the suburbs, and even traditional vegetarian supermarkets such as Neelam Foodland in Bandra and Cheda in Matunga have stacks of sushi for sale and do-it-yourself sushi kits. So from sushi we move to baklava. Baklava is a Turkish sweet, and until recently the only time most people got to eat baklava was when an acquaintance returned from a Turkish holiday with a box of the stuff. But in the past year, that is since 2010, baklava has reared its flaky head on a surprising number of occasions. During Diwali, people were surprised to receive boxes of the sweet as gifts. It accompanied wedding invitations, showed up on dessert tables and on shelves in stores in Mumbai and Delhi. It's surprising how quickly baklava is winning fans. Like Marmite and peanut butter, it's something you either love or you detest. This is largely because of its teeth-shatteringly sweet. The confection is made of minced dry fruit, including pistachios and walnuts, that are drenched in sugar syrup or honey and baked in sheets of phyllo pastry. The result is a layer cake of flavor. A crisp, buttery crown of pastry is followed by chewy nuts held in place by thick syrup and a final layer of moist pastry. So what I'm trying to say is that it's not just the opening of American fast food outlets in metro cities is not a phenomena confined only to the elite anymore, because now we have even working class, if not working class, middle class people flocking to these American fast food parlors for a quick meal, making it as much a part of the Indian menu as idli, sambar or parathas. But the second important thing is that it's not just the food from the US or American fast food as we call it. There's not just an Americanization of the Indian palate, but also an Asianization of the Indian palate, with Chinese food, which was always there, being followed by Thai and Japanese food, and Japanese and even Korean food, and in some food from the Middle East. Now, this return of baklava from Turkey to India reminds us of the earlier travels of food, which took place with the actual movement of people, such as the travel of dishes like biryani and pulao with the Islamic rulers. They traveled to India, and the similarity, the origins of pulao, which is now part of Indian staple diet, as having emerged from the Middle East. So I was surprised when I find that in Bangalore, a certain part of Bangalore, which was not a very elite neighborhood, the gentrification of that neighborhood and gradually the mushrooming of all the fast food outlets on this road in Bangalore, which earlier had only a handful of Udupi restaurants, the traditional restaurants run by Udupi Brahmins, which were frequented by people in South India. And now the same street and its perpendicular street has all the American food chains, from McDonald's to Dunkin' Donuts, Pizza Hut of course, and KFC, Domino's, Baskin Robbins, Little Italy. There's no doubt aioli, Korean food, Mediterranean food. So the number of Marco Polo in China, mainland China of course. So how this whole street, which was a South Indian road, has now been Americanized through the entry of American fast food parlors, which have driven the Udupi restaurants out of business. And I was surprised that a traditional sweet shop on the same road, run a Marwadi sweet shop called Ananda sweet shop. I was surprised to find it stocking baklava a couple of years ago. Not only the sweet shop, but the neighborhood supermarket, which is now being frequented by African and Iranian students for their groceries, now stocks staple Middle Eastern rotis and all other items of Middle Eastern cuisine, as the students come to this supermarket and converse with the owner, the Muslim owner of the supermarket, in pure Arabic, and ask for their needs. Students from Iran as well as Muslim Africa who are fluent in Arabic and who prefer to converse with the owner in Arabic rather than English. Now I move on to the other part of the travels of food and the turning of Indian food as cool, and the West developing a taste for curry in the recent past. Now, we must remember that the West always had a taste of curry, which dates back to the Raj, and through the cultivation of a taste for curry by the British, including the British Queen during their sojourn in India. Most of the British who were stationed in India, and when they returned to Britain at the end of their service, were completely curryfied. So, not just ordinary British officers, but even the Queen, we believe the Queen Victoria made it very fashionable, as she had an Indian staff who cooked Indian food every day. At Osborne House, Victoria, the Empress of India, built an Indian themed stateroom decorated by an eminent architect of the Punjab. So, it was Queen Victoria who first made Indian food fashionable, as she had an Indian staff who cooked Indian food every day. But and here we have in this picture we have Queen Victoria with her Indian staff, and in another picture we have Queen Victoria with Abdul Karim, her secretary. And this is what causes the travel. It's not the royal's taste for Indian cuisine and the travels of ayahs who often traveled with the British masters to England and continued to cook Indian curries for the British masters that created a taste for curry in Britain, but also the first Indian curry vendors. At the beginning of the 20th century, curry was not very popular, says Dr. Collingham. It was not well to do to have a house that smells of curry. So, the abhorrence for the smell of curry and the love for the taste of curry, they go hand in hand, because I've heard Indian friends talking about how if their house smells of curry, their Westerner friends don't like frequenting it. And I've also heard how Indian women who cook Indian food at home, when they board the buses and they smell of Indian food, the other passengers don't like to share a seat with them, because the smell of curry is distasteful to them. I've also heard in Singapore very recent examples of how Singaporeans would not rent their houses to Indians because Indians cook curry, and that, according to them, creates a very distasteful smell in the house. So, it was not a well-to-do house that smells of curry. But at the same time, so while the smell was abhorrent, the taste was something which the British had cultivated and found it very difficult to give up. And this happened again through an accident. It happened through the travels of Lascars. Lascars were seamen, sailors, who usually would do odd jobs on the ship. And among their many other jobs, their job was to cook on the ships. And Lascars were one of the first people, along with ayahs, to have traveled to Britain. Many of the Lascars, many of the sailors jumped ship or were dumped at major ports, including Cardiff and London. Usually these seamen were from a maritime region, Sylhet, which is now a region in Bangladesh, open cafes mainly to cater for Asians. So, the earliest travel of food is because the food caters to the diaspora, to the Asian people who migrate, such as the paratha in the British Malaya. It's because the Indian migrant workers or the Muslim Mapilas who travel to the British Malaya, usually single men, they needed food or rotis to West Indies or Fiji. They would need to eat, and most of these eating places mushroomed or appeared because of the need for the itinerant travelers or migrant workers or Indian workers or Indians, Asians who traveled overseas. Now, these seamen, they were sailors, were self-taught, but they also cleverly adapted themselves to the British palate. In the 1940s, they bombed out chippies and cafes, says Mrs. Collingham, selling curry and alongside fish, pies and chips. They stayed open really late to make money, and to catch the after pub trade. So, we have an image here of some of the descendants of these Lascars and an image of Brick Lane, which is the food street, the Indian Asian food street, the owned mainly by Siletis in London. The first Indian restaurant, however, which opened in London, opened in England, was Hindustani Coffee House, which opened in 1809. Indian dishes in the highest perfection, unequal to any curries ever made in England. So ran the 1809 newspaper advert for a new eating establishment in an upmarket London square, popular with colonial returnees. Diners in the Hindustani Coffee House could smoke hookah pipes and recline on bamboo cane sofas as they tucked into spicy meat and vegetable dishes. This was the country's first dedicated Indian restaurant, opened by an entrepreneurial migrant by the name of Dean Mohammed. He was the first person to have migrated to England, Dean Mohammed. Now, Indian curry has come a long way in UK, it's come a long way in England, and we find not just Indian curry, but Indian street food has become so popular in UK that street food pioneer Dabawal has been named the UK's best casual dining restaurant in the UK's biggest annual Indian Restaurant Awards, the British Curry Awards 2015. And this award was presented at a glittering ceremony at the Battersea Park Hotel, London, by Channel 4 news anchor Krishnan Gurumurthy, where Dabawal was recognized for leading the UK street food craze, which has taken hold since it first opened its kitchen in Newcastle in 2010. And let's move to other parts of the world. Now, this popularity of Indian food in Britain has become so naturalized, that so much so that Indian food has become part of the British cuisine, so far as chicken tikka masala, a reinvented chicken dish, as being considered as British national dish. An industry so popular that the then Foreign Secretary Robin Cook described chicken tikka masala as a true British national dish, and yet another example of an Indian recipe modified for British taste. Now, I would like to compare, first I would like to take you to other parts of the world where Indian food has traveled, but I would compare Britain with US to show that while it was expected that Britain would have a taste for India due to the long connection between India and Britain dating back to the British Raj, it's the American narrative of the travel of food is slightly different, but how we find that Indian food has invaded not just Britain, which has become part of the national cuisine of Britain, but has also taken over US and the rest of the world. So, let me take you to Gerrard Street in Toronto, and we have this menu restaurant run Punjabi run restaurant, and you can see the clientele is not just Indian, but you have Goras, whites eating in this food. It's a food street where Indian food is available in Toronto. And we have Chandni Chowk in Toronto, the street food, Indian street food from Toronto to Singapore. The Chandni Chowk chaat is available in Toronto as it's available in Singapore. In Frankfurt and Mile, we have the Indian chili restaurant, which serves tandoori cuisine, and we find Sambar Vada in Kurland, and we have a white professional who's taking a break from work to come and have a quick South Indian meal. But less known is the relationship first. So, let's go to US and what happens to US. I'll come to the US in the present, but let's go back, trace the history of the travel of Indian food to US, as we did in the case of Britain, and the story of the travel of ghee, which dates back over a century, more than that. The earliest mention of ghee in American literature occurs in 1831 with Edgar Allan Poe's short story Emma's Found in a Bottle, which describes a trading ship in Java carrying coir, jaggery, ghee, coconuts, and a few cases of opium. Another stray mention pops up in an 1895 letter Mark Twain wrote to Rudyard Kipling as he prepared to embark on a world tour that included a stop in India. Twain playfully commanded Kipling to be on hand with a few bottles of ghee or I shall be thirsty. So, the taste of ghee in the US dates back to the 19th century. It's typical of Franzen, one of America's shrewdest social novelists, to slip in this reference to a food that most Americans are unaware of, but which has begun to attract a strong niche following. In the US, ghee is trending, especially among millennial foodies smitten with superfoods like, I don't know how to pronounce these, fair trade organic produce and bulletproof coffee, which is coffee blended with butter or ghee and a spoonful of coconut oil extract. It sounds expensive and ghastly, but it's all the rage. At the hip new Bulletproof Coffee Cafe in Santa Monica, California, you can add ghee to your coffee for $1. And we come to the Grocer's Encyclopedia. By the early 20th century, large groups of again immigrants, it's Indian immigrants which brought Indian cuisine to the US. Indian immigrants, mainly seamen and students, had begun to arrive in New York, bringing their new foods with them. The 1911 Grocer's Encyclopedia, published in New York City, which listed all sorts of exotic immigrant food, had an entry for ghee along with canned kangaroo tails, wasabi, brie, and penguin eggs. One of the most striking mentions of vegetable ghee or vanaspati is to be found in Chains to Lose, the memoirs of Dada Khan, a resourceful seaman and freedom fighter who arrived illegally in the US and jumped ship in 1918. He records how he crawled through a duct of the ship to steal onions and potatoes from the storage area and cook them in spices and vegetable ghee. So, I am going to take you to New York in the present, and this image we have is of the East Village in New York City. We have this Cutty Roll joint on New York City. If you want to have a quick bite in Village, you will have to compete, you will have to stand in a long queue to get your Cutty Roll, which you can find in any street corner in Kolkata or Dhaka. And if you are late, God help you, because the Cutty Roll sells like hotcakes. You will be competing with Goras, Kalas and people of all colors in order to grab your Cutty Roll in the evening. Indian cuisine is so popular today that many Hollywood and Western television shows have references to it, showing it as part of their popular culture. And no longer is curry made for fun of as food that will give one a bad tummy. Instead, top food shows have had references to Indian dishes, what with a breakfast staple like upma winning votes at the finale of one of them, or a deconstructed paneer gravy making people go wow in another. If anything, this is a time where Indian food is gaining momentum, with many international chefs trying to reinvent popular dishes and give them a makeover to cater to a wider audience or gourmands. And here we have an image of from Village. We move to Harlem, which has largely been a African American black neighborhood, and with the gentrification of Harlem in the last 5 years, we find the opening of Maharaja on the street of Harlem, the main Frederick Douglass Avenue. We have the latest outlet of Maharaja serving Indian food not only to white people on the East Village in the mainstream in the city business district, but also in the suburbs of Harlem you can find Indian food. So, I conclude by saying that Indian food would seem like the new ethnic trend in US. It has slowly but surely found its way into the hearts and stomachs of cities around the United States. More than 300 restaurants that serve cuisine from across the subcontinent in New York City alone, according to a professor at New York University, and compare that to merely 20 restaurants that could be found in the Big Apple in the 1980s, and consider that this cuisine has been pronounced as the next ethnic food trend. But the truth is that Indian food isn't anywhere nearly as popular as it should be. It's what Chinese food was, according to Ray, 10 years, a generation ago. But it's now slated to be the next ethnic food. So I conclude by saying that food has been one of the most common items of circulation and as a reflector of globalization, and the Americanization of Indian food habits has also simultaneously led to reverse flows of Indian cuisine to different parts of the world, first with the Indian migrants, but the more important thing is that curry, which was seen as something distasteful to the Western taste buds, has now become the new ethnic trend in Europe, North America and other parts of the world.